What up?
Hey, we got Big K-Mac, Kevin Stimpson on the beat.
What up? It's your boy Kevin Stimpson. I'm in the building. I have the wifey here with me too. You'll be seeing her in a second.
Okay, very cool. What are we talking about today? What's going on?
I don't know. We're doing a panel. I think Steven's going to be interviewing Devona and I, and so we'll see whatever questions he asks, bro.
I like it. Sir. So I see your hat says walk by faith. Give us a little meaning.
Yeah, man, for me, I'm faith-driven. I'm all about belief systems and all that good stuff. Walk by faith, not by sight. It's easy for us to get distracted, especially in this world of social media. And so for me, I'm just all about like tapping into the higher power, and whatever he think is right, I think it's right, and I'm rolling with it.
Let's go. You ready to rock this interview?
I'm always ready.
Okay, hit that little thing. Oh, Millie Rock on the block. Let him know. All right, so give us a little bit of a detail behind Miss Devona. Who is she? What does she do?
My name is Devona. I'm an artist, creative entrepreneur, speaker, best-selling author, founder of Gangstar Creative. And I'm just happy today, and I'm excited to talk to everybody and be interviewed with my hubby. It's gonna be a fun time.
Okay. We got the family Jen and Dom right here, about to have a wonderful interview.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and cut to where we're gonna get started because we gotta get set up. But any last words before we get it started?
Get ready. We're about to drop the heat. Be ready. Be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Be ready so you ain't gotta get ready. That's what it is.
Now we are. All right, guys. Oh, shout out to Brady, guys, for our YouTube channel. Yeah, WAP League or no league. Yes. All right, guys. So for our magazine cover for next month's issue, they are my branding people. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kevin and Devona Stimpson. Yeah. Have a seat, you guys. How you going?
Great.
Oh my gosh, a few weeks ago, these guys, he put me in like such tight shirts. Like I feel like I'm wrapped up in a condom. Anyways, okay, that's inappropriate. Sorry. Okay, don't put that on YouTube. Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having us tonight.
Yeah, here you go. So Kevin and Devona Stimpson, you guys, this is for the magazine interview, by the way. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Cool. D, you want to start?
Sure. So my name is Devona Stimpson. I am an artist, creative entrepreneur, best-selling author, speaker. My background was originally in graphic design, and I've helped Kevin build a branding company that you heard Steven talk about called Strive and Grind for the past 3 years. But what's crazy is my original passion has always been painting. I took a painting class while I was in college, discovered that while I was painting that I had this new talent that I didn't know that I had, and that I hated graphic design and I wanted to pursue painting. But then I also had to make a decision and make a sacrifice and put the painting on the back burner to help build the branding company with my husband. And so the past 3 years I've been doing that, and we made it to a successful point where I could exit out of the company and start painting again.
Yeah, it's really cool, guys, because we're from the East Coast. We're from Virginia Beach, Virginia. We moved here back March 1st of 2015. And so we had this big dream to start our own business. I was in the IT space. I wanted to be I was an IT project manager, and my big dream, Steven, was to be the chief information officer of a big Fortune 500 company. So I went to school for that. I studied it up. I was like, cool, like this is gonna be my jam, or this is gonna be my jam. And so what happened was, I got off to a fast start. I went up to a leadership development program, started to realize that this was not for us. We ended up leveraging our day jobs. I saw an opportunity from Boston to move here to San Diego. We moved here to San Diego. We saw all the successful entrepreneurs lived out here. Everybody we was following lived out here. So we made that transition, moved to San Diego. Within our first 4 months or so, we saw a Facebook ad to go to our first ever entrepreneur conference. Within that 4-month time frame, we went to a live event. Day one goes by, Devona and I, arms across, we're not paying for this thing. Day two, we're whispering back and forth. Day three, we're like, all right, we're gonna do this thing. We invested.
We're just like, take our credit card.
Yeah. And it was crazy. We invested $36,000 into our first ever mastermind. And the logic behind that was saying, you know what? We're gonna take out a credit card. You know, we had just graduated college not too far before. We were already in student loan debt, even though I was getting paid a lot of money at the day job. And the logic behind that was saying, hey, you know what? it's going to cost $3,000 a month for 12 months for us to get this right. But with our credit card, we took out a $10,000 credit card. And so we said we have 3 months to start making at least $3,000 a month, or we're not going to be able to pay for this thing. And so that was like the logic behind it. We have to make money now. What's cool is within a year of that, we made our first 6 figures. We quit our day jobs within that 12-month time frame. We've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, how'd you guys meet?
MySpace, bro.
Yeah, technically MySpace. So like
2006, slid into the DMs before it was even a thing.
I know, because like I said before, I did graphic design, so I always created like custom MySpace layouts, like really custom dope ones, and people knew me for them. So he liked my stuff, slid into my DMs, and then we were chatting late all night on AIM. Everybody
Who
remember?
remembers AIM? Yeah, man.
My screen name was EXO Filipino Beauty.
Mine was Pretty Boy Kev.
And of course it was like uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. Yeah.
And yeah, man, we just stayed up late at night doing that, messaging back and forth. We even started dating before we actually saw and actually physically
Like
met each
dated,
other.
Yeah. We grew up in Virginia Beach, and in that area there's like 7 high schools, and a lot of people know each other. So we had mutual friends. But yeah, we made it official technically online, and then we went and had like our first like date alone at the
Happy
movies.
Feet was our first movie we saw together.
Oh, that's so nice. Man, remember you guys the chats? ASL, you know? Yeah.
What's your ASL?
Anyways, memories.
The good old days.
Send me a pic. Anyways, so take that out of the video. So you guys started meeting, you guys met, and you guys said, okay, San Diego, that's where all your entrepreneurs you guys followed are here. When you moved here, you said you had a job out here?
Yep.
And then you went to a conference, started Entrepreneur Journey. Now, when you started Entrepreneur, this is your first business, yeah?
Well, at that time, I'd say it was our 3rd business. Because Strive and Grind at first, we rebranded. It was a lifestyle brand for anybody and everybody who wanted to be successful. Strive to achieve greatness, grind to get there. That was a concept. We had a blog. It was about 30,000 monthly unique visitors to the website. We did not know how to monetize it. We had a full-fledged on clothing line. We had brand ambassadors. We had sponsored athletes. We built like 2 college chapters, one at our alma mater. And we did like little live events and stuff too. And so we weren't making money. It looked cool from afar what we were doing, but we weren't monetizing it at all. So that was what Dee and I created jointly together back in 2013. And in 2015, we ended up rebranding it into a branding company. And then also prior to moving out here, I had a mobile game app that I launched with some friends called Ocean Impossible. And the whole concept behind the game, you would pick like you would create different agents. They'd run across the water. You had robotic sea creatures who'd kill you. And what was funny about it was we wanted to give back. And this was like way back in 2014. So if you're at the top of the leaderboards at the end of any given week, we'd give you money. And so you could use that to pay for your books. You can use that to go out to eat, get food, etc. So yeah. And that tanked, obviously. Both of those companies tanked big time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, how come it tanked?
The mobile game app tanked because my team just wasn't really good, solid people. They were really hating on us. They were hating on me more specifically. They were still left in Virginia Beach, and I was out here living my dream on the West Coast. And so they're seeing what I'm doing from afar, and then they started to become envious. And so the moment I just dropped out of there, when we invested into our mastermind, I just shut down everything. And I canceled the mobile game app. I said I'm no longer a part of it. And then they haven't been around ever since. So the moment I walked away, it tanked and they went away. And then I'd say Strive and Grind, you know, the company as far as the clothing line, all that kind of stuff, that tanked. How many of you guys had an idea and then your friends and family were like, hey, we're going to support you guys? So we had a clothing line. They say, hey, create this, create that, create this. We're like, cool. So we got like $10,000, $20,000 in debt, got all of these clothing, expecting all of our friends and family to just buy shit up, and it never happened. And so then we got $10,000, $20,000 in debt. And then on our side, it's just like, okay, what are we going to do with all this dead inventory? We still have dead inventory to this day. That's why I still wear all our Strive and Grind apparel. Devona still wears some of her stuff. And so now we just give it away to our clients. So it works out.
I love it. Okay. Very cool. So would you say that you really pivoted after doing the mastermind?
Yeah, it was really our business coach, when he sat down with us on our VIP day, he was just like, you guys are like really good at branding. That's what you should do. And then in my head, I was like, man, I don't want to do branding. I already said I don't want to do graphic design anymore. And I was just like, oh. And then after we had that like discussion, it was just kind of like, okay, like this is going to get us to where we wanted to be financially and like a lifestyle and freedom way faster than my art will. So I was just like, okay. And I tried focusing on both and I couldn't. So I had to put like my art stuff on the back burner and just dive full all in and focus on that one thing, which was the branding company.
Yeah. And it was really smart too, because like Devona said, focus on one thing. So killed the mobile game app, killed Strive and Grind that it was before, rebranded it. And what was cool was most of our first few clients that we got, or our first several clients that we got, were all in the mastermind. Mm-hmm. And so we started generating our first revenue streams from that. And then we got our first speaking engagement opportunities from adding value and speaking to that mastermind. So we got our first like leg up, if you will, in the expert space and entrepreneurial space while we were in that mastermind.
Very cool, very cool. And so what would you say in the startup phase of Strive and Grind, would you say was the biggest challenge?
Man, there were so many. Do you have any that just come to mind for you?
I mean, the first one is always just like, how do you make your first like 5 figures, really? Like when you're first starting a business. I mean, being in the mastermind was super helpful. I don't think that if we weren't in a mastermind, we would have gotten that fast track of growing the business. But I'd say that was probably number one.
Yeah, it was a few things, right? Like I'd say niching down was the hardest,
That
right?
too.
Because if you think about it, especially when you're first starting out, you want to do all of these different things. Like for me, I wanted to have a clothing company. I wanted to have this. I wanted to have this. I wanted to do this. And so we got really, really good at just creating a lot of shit that didn't perform or do well at all. And so having to say, okay, we want to commit these next couple of years, these next few years to having a branding company. We're going to be known and seen as the best at what we do. We're going to study our craft and be the best at it. That's when we started to get that core competency of like really being successful. So it was that. Also really having to get out there and go out there. So what we realized that so many entrepreneurs, they just love the thought of being successful just by being online, pretending that they're doing things. A lot of people just want to work from home without being out there, having conversations with real people, having business dinners, business lunches, going out there to conferences, going out there to live events just like this, networking, having conversations with people. So I'm a big believer in just like going out there, having those initial conversations, and then getting people on the phone. And then I'd say the other big challenge we had was just sales. You know, it was scary as I don't know what. How many of you guys love sales right now? Like, I love it. Like, give me an objection right now and I'll throw that shit right back in your face. Like, I love it. I get really excited. But at first, when you're talking about, hey, this is a $5,000 deal or $6,000 deal, and you've never sold anything before, that's when things get a little bit scary. Your heart starts pounding, and then getting those first few no's kind of like push you in your place like, oh man, like, not everyone's gonna like this stuff. Not everyone's gonna want it. Or maybe they do want it, they just don't realize that they want it. So really having to ground ourselves in that competency of knowing how to communicate effectively, learning influence, NLP, sales, and all that kind of stuff, that helped us out a lot too.
For sure, for sure. What would you say is the most challenging working together?
What's not?
No, I mean, we always say too, I think it's like a big question that we've always gotten. It's like, how do you work with your partner? Like, how do you do it? Or, you know, and we don't have like the one perfect answer, but I feel like what helped us was one, just being over communicative. So like, I mean, in our relationship we communicate all the time, but especially if you're working with your partner, it's like you really have to communicate, and you also have to learn a way to separate your life and business, and that's just something that we always and continuously struggle on, but we always try to separate, you know, the work side and the life side. And that was like really hard in the beginning, because when you're building a business, that's when you're like really in the trenches and like you're just striving and grinding all day long, and then you get kind of burnt out and you're like, what are we doing? Like, there's no time for us or dates and all of that. And then recently, I would say like over the past couple years, knowing like our personalities, so like taking certain personality tests like the Myers-Briggs, DISC profile test, knowing what our love languages are, all of that has helped us a lot because we're actually complete opposites as far as all of those tests goes. And then when we took those, it kind of made us realize like, oh, this is why, like when you do this or you say this, like I'm not receiving it the right way and vice versa. And that's just something that we've learned that we're gonna have to work on that like for life, whether it's in business or just in our relationship.
Yeah, and for us, man, we definitely had some challenges when we were working together, which is why Devona no longer, is a part of the Striving Grind team, and she kind of, phased herself out. It got to a point where it started to really take a toll on our marriage. So some of the few things that was super, super helpful, like Devona said, taking those personality tests were really, really big, because what happens is, you just try to change your partner sometimes. It's like, hey, like you're not seeing it my way, you need to do this or you need to do that. But that's not the case. When you understand like why they do what they do and how they do what they do, then you start to see that big holistic picture. So that's one of them. Two is just like, I always believe in like prioritizing things, prioritizing those things that are of most significance in your life. And so there came a point where we weren't putting ourselves first. And we were just putting the business first every single time. So then we had to step back, take a look at the big picture. It's like, all right, how can we put ourselves first? What are those things that we have to do in the morning, every single morning together? So we were like intimate, romantic, like we got in that moment. Then we start our day, do the business stuff. And then how do we circle back? Are we going to spend like the last 2 hours of our day together just chilling, no business talk at all, just relaxing, being husband and wife? Or are we just going to just say, all right, honey, we're just going to work all day, all night, and then we're just going to go to bed, not even talk to each other in bed and go to sleep, right? So having those real deep conversations were something that was like really, really impactful. But also too, like we have business meetings, right? Why don't we have meetings with our partners and with our spouses? So about like our relationship. How can we do better? What do you need help with today? How can I serve you today? Was there anything that you didn't like that I did yesterday or today? Or what do you want me to do like this upcoming week or next week? So having those type of conversations I think would be super, super helpful for people who work together.
But I think the one thing that has really like helped us that I feel like a lot of couples may lack that are trying to figure things out as far as like working together or even just being together is that we've always been on the same page like mindset wise and ambition wise, and we've always supported each other in whatever crazy ideas that we had. And I think that if you are trying to work with your significant other, that's just a really hard conversation that you're going to have with them. And if that's what you want and that's not what they want, you got to figure out which one you're going to choose.
Yeah.
That's good. What's the theme for the year this month? Scaling. Okay, perfect. So let me ask you this: when it comes to, your whole the whole theme of the magazine, scaling. When you guys your motto is build up your brand to charge premium prices. What's the exact wording?
Yeah, attract high-paying clients, position yourself as a go-to leader in your industry, and charge top dollar for your products and services.
Amazing. That's what you guys is.
That's our jam.
That's the jam.
Yes.
So I have a question from Johnny Cruz. How do you pick your pricing, and how do you change mentality from going for premium clients versus getting anybody out there?
Yeah. So I believe that there's this thing called cheap client syndrome, and that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into that space, especially when they're first starting out. How many of you guys ever experienced working with cheap clients before? What are some of the negative impacts that you guys had from cheap clients?
They usually leave you the quickest when they're not seeing results.
Okay, they leave you the quickest.
They complain most.
Complain all the time, high maintenance.
Yes. I mean, they're not spending that much on the product, so they're not that invested.
Right. They don't value value, they value price. They don't value your time, they don't respect you, they don't see you as the expert. All they see again is that dollar amount, and that's it. They'd rather go to somebody up the street, hire their cousin, their uncle, whatever. And so there's this other type of client out there called the premium client. And so for you, it's like, okay, there's so many people out there right here, right now in your industry and in your space who have the financial resources for, buying your stuff, but at a premium. And when they're buying your stuff at a premium, there's higher perceived value from that perspective. So how do you choose that price point? What I would always suggest is saying like, okay, what is everybody else in your industry charging? So in my industry, there's people charging anywhere from $2,000 for what we do all the way up to, say, $50,000. And so what I would do is I would go in the middle tier just starting out. So instead of charging, say, that $2,500 or $3,000, let's start off charging $5,000. Let's get our first few clients coming in at $5,000, get a great result for them, get that value that they're paying you for, and then once you have that, now you're building up your social proof, you're building up your case studies, and you're building up your credibility. Then you're going to be like, all right, cool, I'm going to increase my prices to $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. And so what we did when we first started, I think we first started at $5,000, then it went to $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, and now $20,000. And what's interesting is our most hard, challenging time of selling our products and services for what we currently do right now was up to $8,000. From $0 to $8,000 was the absolute hardest to sell that. But the moment we went to 10, boom, people started buying. 12, boom, 15, I'm not even have to sell anymore. And then at 20, people already know it's for them. They just have to see the value. And so you just get that higher quality client and prospect when it comes down to that higher price point.
Yeah, I think for me, we're just like, hey, keep the quote, here's the money, let's go.
Yeah.
There was no real sales. It was just like, because I've been looking at all of this stuff, and websites that are looking like, brought to you by Striving Grant. Like, what the heck? Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was looking at their portfolio, I'm like, oh, these guys, this is legit. I look at my website, like,
Exactly. Yeah.
So then, so we talked about, the obstacles with working together, the obstacles in startup. What would you say, this is a question from Yoichi, what was the biggest challenge overall you had to deal with, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah.
It's such a loaded question. It's always hard to pick one, because as an entrepreneur, you're just on this roller coaster and ups and downs. It never stops.
I got one that comes right off the bat. How many of you guys have heard people say, you've made all the money and then they lost it and they made it back and they lost it and they made it back again? How many of you guys ever heard that? And so what happens is, and it's real, right? Like, I'm even a product of it. My mentors, my parents, save your money, Kevin, save your money. Don't be buying stupid shit. Don't be buying stupid shit. But I mean, think about it, guys. Like, we have instant gratification syndrome, like, especially online. We got Instagram, everyone saying like, hey, I just bought this car, but they really didn't buy it, they're leasing it. Hey, I just bought this house. No, you didn't. You're renting it on Airbnb, but you're pretending that you did. You have like all of this different stuff to make people seem like they're balling. Designer shoes, this, that, and the third. And so for us, it got to a point where we're making all of this money, and then we look at our bank account, we're just like, yo, where the fuck did all our money go? And it went towards all the stupid shit that you can imagine and think of. And so that was like a huge turning point for us, and it put us in a dark place. Because as you guys may know, when your finances aren't hitting, they aren't hitting. And then it has a negative impact on your mental health, it has a negative impact on your fitness and everything else around that, right? Your family, all that kind of stuff. So just making sure that you're being smart with your finances, you're stacking your money up, you're not spending it on stupid shit, you're investing it, you're doing all those type of things. And then I'd say the other thing was too, is just like surrounding yourself around quality people. And so we're blessed enough, and I'm sure you guys are too, because you've curated a space in the community for a lot of like-minded people. When Devona and I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, it was just us two. We didn't have no friends here. We didn't have any family members here. When we invested into our first ever mastermind, we didn't even tell our parents, because we knew they wouldn't get it. We cut off most of our friends, and we had to start building and creating new relationships. And so, having those core people who have your back throughout, the good and the bad, those are the people that you're going to want in your life for, the long term. So that's been something that's been super valuable for us. And it was a challenge, like, starting out.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Now, before you guys were Strive and Grind, the mobile app, the game, the clothing line, all that jazz, a question from Brian Horton says, what do you recommend for someone who's starting out with no brand?
You start building the brand.
So how do you start building a brand?
You start with the foundation, which is your brand strategy. So basically, I'm sure Kevin took you a little bit through this, but it's figuring out one, like, what's your vision? Where do you see yourself 2 to 5 years from now? It sounds like a silly question, but many of our clients never know the answer to that. They're just like, oh, I just know where I want to be in 6 months. But like, if you want longevity with your brand, you really need to know where you see yourself in 2 to 5 years so you can build your brand that's going to get you there, because nothing's going to happen overnight. Yep. Also thinking about, what's your mission, what's your purpose, what are your core values, who is your target audience, what are their pain points, what are their desires, what do they look like, where do they hang out at, what's their age range, all of those things.
And essentially too, right, like just piggybacking off of that, is committing to being the best at the one thing.
Yeah.
So many people are just like, hey, I'm gonna upsell you this, I'm gonna downsell you this, or I'm gonna sell you this, even though you're not good at it. And so for us, you would never find me ever, like we do branding, right? Like that's what we do. You'll never see us doing social media stuff. You'll never see us pitching PR. You never see us pitching our customers and our clients bullshit services that we don't have a strong competency in. So if you don't have a brand right now, and this is literally how we got started. I did not have a background in branding, and neither did Devona. She had a background in graphic design, and you understood the holistic view of like corporations and companies, what they did for like their logo and print and media and things like that. I was on IT, but the moment our coach was like, hey, you guys should start a branding company, I said, shit, we're gonna start a branding company. Well, damn, how do you start a branding company? He wasn't the expert at starting a branding company. We had to become the expert at starting a branding company. So what we did was we bought like 15 to 20 branding books. All of that knowledge then became our knowledge. We took that knowledge and we started transferring that knowledge into our clients. And then from there, our clients started to get certain type of results, and we started to get certain type of experience where we then started to create our own methodologies, our own frameworks, and our own systems. And now we're the experts, right? And so now we're like, okay, cool. We know how to play at this game at a much better level now, on a higher level. Let's, take it up a notch. And so that's what I would do. Buy books, watch YouTube videos, invest in other people who are already experts in whatever it is that you want to do, and create a brand around that and focus on the one thing until you have a proven model that you're successful.
That's good. That's good. Jeff Rowland, J-Row, his exact question is, what's the realest and most legit book you've read on branding?
Realist and most legit book? Yeah, shit, man.
What's one that you were reading at?
Yeah. So I'd say my top 2 or 3, there's one called Emotional Branding. Yeah, so that's really, really good. And the whole concept there is like tapping into the 5 senses. And if you can tap into each of those senses for your brand, you're gonna be off to a better start than most people. So think about it. If I look down right now, I see plates of food right now. Guess what that's solving? Your taste, right? And then you got, smell, all that type of stuff. There's a bunch of other people who have masterminds and they don't feed you guys. Guess what? Steven's standing out from the crowd just by having food, right? There you go. Serve that belly, man. Serve that belly.
What's the one that we used to always give our clients? It's like the 20...
60 minute brand strategist is another. It's really, really good for like a core foundation.
Yeah.
And then Blue Ocean Strategy was huge for us.
Yeah.
How many of you guys have read Blue Ocean Strategy? Cool.
Ooh.
I would say that should be the #1 book that each and every single one of you get.
Yeah.
And then there's a book called Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham, Getting Everything You Can Out of All You Got. Massively, massively successful book, great book. To me, that book is easily worth anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. And
that's more like marketing and branding.
yeah, I mean, that book can put you out of business, Steven. It could put me out of business. Yeah, man, like that is a gangster ass book.
Okay, I'm gonna get that book.
Yes, get that
Kristen,
book.
read it to me. Okay.
Awesome. I'm actually working on one right now. So the next 60 days.
All right.
Yes.
So
Thank
good.
you. Yes. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Okay, so Alex, sorry, Alex, we'll get to this question last. Nick asked, how do companies improve after going through your branding process? So now let's talk about testimonials.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So how do companies improve after going through the branding process? So it's very simple, right? Like you have to, and you're gonna want to listen to the feedback that your customers are going through, right? So you create this brand. Now, brand at the end of the day is what people think, what they feel, and what they say about you when you're not there, good or bad. And so, prime example, how many of you have heard of a guy named Jay Shetty?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all love him, right? Oh, amazing. Well, now my perspective has changed about this guy. And then you guys are like, wow, Kevin, tell me more. All right, I'm about to tell you guys. So I'm on Facebook today and I'm scrolling. And there's a woman by the name of Nicole Arbor. She is a YouTuber, she's a comedian, and she pretty much exposed him. And she said that all he's been doing over the last several years is taking other people's quotes and claiming them as his. All of his videos that he puts out, he's literally just saying word for word, verbatim, other people's quotes that you can find elsewhere. And what she did was she created a video showing the words he's saying and the actual text, like Tony Robbins said this is what he said. This person said this is what Jay Shetty said. And claiming it as his. He'll put Jay Shetty right at the bottom. So in my mind, I'm like, wow, he's an asshole. He just made a lot of bankroll off of other people's intellectual property. Now, I know a lot of people today who are highly successful in their business off of hijacking other people's hard work that they put decades and decades of stuff into. So that's brand, right? It comes down to the point where it's just like, okay, cool, you're making some money. People see you as such. But now you gotta think about your integrity. Now you gotta think about, well, we live in a world of social media. If you work with the wrong customer or you work with the wrong client who has influence and they share something about you that can have a negative impact, fuck, man, that sucks. So those are the different things that you want to like definitely pay attention to. Always poll your clients, ask them what are things that you guys can do better, where's errors and improvements, and capture all of that and be open to constructive criticism. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have the most badass customer and client experiences. You want to make sure you have the most badass results, case studies, brand, everything where people are just saying and raving good stuff about you.
That's good.
Okay, next question from Brian Hernandez. As an agency that focuses on branding other companies, what steps did you take early on to position yourself to approach high-end clients?
That's a good one. I think the main one was really investing in masterminds. Honestly, I mean, you know, the saying like you have to pay to play, like that was, we were like, okay, we're gonna put all this money into these masterminds. Well, all the people that are in the masterminds are investing $10 to $20 to $30,000 just as we are, so of course they're gonna have the money to work with us. And then also at being part of masterminds like that, everybody has connections with high-level people in business and of influence, and that's been like probably like the number one way we've done it.
And I would say the other thing that we did too, I would say we did some pro bono work in a way where it was just leverage, right? It's just like, yo, if we landed this high level influencer, 2, 3, 4 of them for free, proved ourselves that we were legit, we did a great job, and they did a testimonial for us talking about how amazing our work was, awesome. Now we know that through other people's circle of influence, if they saw that this person was raving about us, we'd be good, we'd be solid. So prime example, like 2016 is when we joined Cole Hatter's Thrive Mastermind, right? And so we were just like, shit, his brand is ugly. It's so ugly. We gotta hook it up. It's so outdated. Let's hook it up. Let's hook it up. So we said, yo, what if we did your brand for you? We took care of everything, logo, website, this, that, and the third. You didn't have to worry about nothing. All you had to think about was, 30 days from now, you have a new brand and you'd be happy about it. He'd be like, cool, guys, do it up. So we did it. He did an awesome testimonial video for us. And if you think about even now, like, that what we did for him is paying us even to today. Because people are seeing, oh, you work with Cole Hatter, oh, you work with this person, oh, you work with that person. Great. Well, if they saying these great things about you, and I already know, like, and trust them, I'd love to work with you and see how you can give me the same type of results.
Yeah. For me, it was Nicholas Barely and Cole Hatter. I said, okay, you know what? These guys are it.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
It took you long enough, but you came eventually.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, it's been like fucking what, 3 years in the making?
Seriously. And I spent money after money on these different websites and stuff and all bullshit.
But wait, pause. That has to say something, right? So let's think about it. There's so many people out there who will spend so much more time doing rework to avoid taking on quality right off the bat. Saves you so much more time, energy, money, resources, etc. So a value standpoint for you guys, if you want to be the premium option in your choice or in your industry, for you is just really communicating that. Hey, you can either choose to do it with us and we'll do it right the first time, or you could choose somebody else, cheaper, not as experienced, and then you'll just worry about doing rework time and time and time again. Which one do you want to do? And it took Steven long enough, and now he's here. So, there you go, bro.
But also make sure you're matching that value that you're giving for that price, because some people want to charge the premium price, but then you hear they don't have any processes or systems or any employees to help out, and then you hear all these crazy stories, and it's like, yes, we want you to create a premium brand and charge premium prices, but you also have to have the right business and the right systems in place to make sure that that happens.
Guys, please don't be that man. Please don't be that woman where you're just taking on clients and you're not serving them. Because people talk. That's the worst thing, right? Like when people talk to you, like I said, right? Like it's all about what people are saying about you. They're either going to say the good or they're going to say the bad. And again, you want them to say the good every single time. Good point.
That's good. That's good. Nick asked, what should I look for in a top-notch branding consultant?
Me, man. Where you at, bro? Right here, wherever you at. It's like, no.
Now, on the side, I mean, we'll talk about it later on here, but I know that you guys charge $20,000 and up, but you do have a special for us, and that's awesome. Thank you. So we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yes, sir.
So next one.
Wait. Let me share real quick.
Please.
You want to have somebody who can challenge your current belief systems.
Oh.
Right? Like a branding person is someone who will check you, they will challenge you, and they're not going to give you what you want because you don't know what you want. A real good branding person knows what you need, and they would know right off the bat that you think you want this, but let me show you why you really want that. And if they're not giving that and they're just saying, oh, we could do that, oh, we could do that, oh, we could do that for you, you already lost. It's that cookie cutter shit, man.
That's good. That's good. That's why it's like when working with these guys, working with my logo and all that stuff, usually I'm like, this is what I want. But this was like, we'll have your logo done in a couple days. I'm like, what logo? We didn't talk about logo. Yeah. And then he's presenting me what we have, and I was like, oh, okay. So, so I love the process. Brady asked, how do you now give back?
Man, I give back, we give back. Well, here's a story. 2 weeks ago, I'm chilling. There's a good friend of ours. He's like an ex-NFL Super Bowl champion. We met him like a year or so back, 2 years back, at a mastermind. And he reached out to me via text. He was like, yo, Kevin, what's up, man? Just want to check in. Praying for you and your wife. Hope all is well. I was like, cool, man. Haven't spoken to you in a while. Thanks for touching base. Hope you're doing well, too. Everything's phenomenal over here. 2 days later, he hits me up and say, hey, Kev, like I'm in a bad spot, man. And he takes a picture of like an eviction notice. And he's like, yo, if I don't pay this, then we're gonna be out of here. He pretty much had like a legal document saying he had to be out of there if he didn't pay tonight by like 6 p.m. And I hit Devona up and I'm like, shit, this guy has a wife, he has like 5 or 6 kids, and if he's out there on the street and I know I could do something about it, that's gonna suck monkey balls. Like I wouldn't even feel good as a human being. So we just wired him $1,000. It's like, hey man, hope this helps, right? And I don't even expect to get that $1,000 back. I don't. But that's just like throwing that money at him just because I want to help out. Giving back to nonprofit organizations, at events, things like that. That's what we do.
I also, when I paint, I have a service where I do live painting, and then if there's events that are supporting like a charity, I usually do like a 50-50 split when we auction it off. So that's another way that I give back, at least with my artwork.
I give back with my time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, like if I see someone who's hungry, they're a go-getter, they're ambitious, and maybe they don't have the financial resources, but there's somebody who I feel like they have it. I'll give them a lot of my time because I want to see them win. But it comes down to the point where now I'm not necessarily just having people pay me, like that type of person, a lot of money. It's like, hey, if we're going to do this thing, we're going to agree that if you're doing these certain things, I'm going to get a percentage of the revenue up until I'm paid, X amount of dollars. And then boom. So I know that my time was worth it. Because at the end of the day, people who pay attention. And I'm sure you guys heard that before. How many of you guys have heard of someone like Grant Cardone before? So he has an event called 10X Con or whatever that happens annually. It happened for the last 3 years. And so 2 years ago, I went to his event in Las Vegas. I think it was like the second one. And it was 10,000 people there. People paid anywhere from, $500 all the way up to 15 grand to be there. And because I was a part of a mastermind, I didn't have to pay shit. And we sat in the skybox seats, had the best seats in the house. And guess who was talking the whole time and did not pay attention to not one speaker because he didn't have to pay for shit? Me. But you best believe the other people who paid anywhere from $500 to 15 grand, they probably didn't even get up to use the bathroom because they were like, I'm getting my time spent here.
Wow.
So
that's funny. But that's so true though.
Yeah,
that's so true. That's so true. Yura, who's also a fellow artist, painter, Devona, how do you market your art? Do you use search engine to advertise? Which ones? What do you do to market your art?
For me, what I've been doing recently is doing a lot of just like cold reach out. So LinkedIn has been something that's been really awesome for me, using LinkedIn and finding the market that I'm looking for to like pitch my painting services, whether it's live painting or for murals. A lot of it for me has been word of mouth, thankfully, and I feel blessed for that word of mouth and social media, honestly, just putting it out there. But for me, the only biggest marketing tool has been just hustling and reaching out to people, whether it's via DMs. I've made a lot of great connections just by doing that, like on Instagram, reaching out to different influencers and things like that. But LinkedIn has been pretty good to me lately, too, so I definitely recommend doing that.
That's awesome. Who knows who Billie Jean is? Yeah? You did a whole...
I did his whole office, except for 2 walls. I did 16 walls in like 34 days, 128 hours.
Wow. So if you go to his office, she did all the paintings for Billie Jean.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so what companies and clients have you worked on? This is from our ghostwriter, so she can put it in your article.
yeah, a lot, man. Who didn't we? I mean, how relevant is it? They may or may not know who these people are.
Name as many as you think would be good in the article that people would know.
Or if you want to just email her.
Yeah, I'll just send it.
Cool. And then any other questions, you guys? One last question? Okay, your last question. Okay, last question from Alex Johnson, who he's, do you guys know Eventbrite?
Yeah.
So he is competing against Eventbrite in ticketing. So he does like ticketing for like big festivals, whatever. Anyways, this is the point. So, okay, here's his question. Big question. Today, what would be your screen name today?
Mine would just be Devona, because my name is
Super
already
boring.
unique. Yeah, Devona. But I'll probably already taken.
Huh? I know, right? No. Shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. I know it's a stupid answer, but I don't know. It wouldn't be Pretty Boy Kev, though.
I love it. Okay. Oh, my screen name?
You probably do something crazy like The Man or like.
Oh, for him?
Yeah, for him.
The Man. I love it. I love it. Okay. Because of YouTube, every time you go to buy food, because Brady always fills me at the buffet, I'm like, this is why I'm fat. You know, and so I would name myself Fat, but spelled P-H-A-T, fat and then Asian, B-O-I, Steve. Fat Boy Steve. There you go. Okay. Okay. And then last question, because Casey's like very orderly. What does the future hold for Strive and Grind and YouTube?
You want to go first, babe?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thought I should ask.
He's the talker. I give him the spotlight.
Okay. Don't gotta tell me twice. So I said a feature for Strive and Grind. I essentially wanted to be the ultimate lifestyle brand for entrepreneurs. So the branding agency is what I started out with. Obviously, entrepreneurs are our target market. I want to have a exclusive clothing line and premium brand for entrepreneurs where you can't even buy my shit unless you're making $100,000 a year in your business. So it's gonna be that exclusive. I want to have like lounges and nightlife spots all across the country where high achievers and entrepreneurs go to hang out, network, have good drinks and have fun. I want to have fitness gyms, Strive and Grind fitness gyms all across the country as well for entrepreneurs, high achievers. So that's that brand that I want to, that's like a 20, 30 year plus vision. And then I have a brand that I'm about to roll out here shortly called Black Boss. And as you guys can see, how many brothers we got in the building? We got 3 of us, 4 of us. Damn. All right, we doing better. Let's go, Steven. You know? But look at that though, like this room is very diverse, right? And it's because Steven is Filipino. And so like attracts like, so that diversity. And so for me, typically in a lot of the rooms that I'm in, whether I'm speaking, I'm a part of masterminds, or I'm just attending an event, I'm always a token black guy there. I'm doing very well in business, I'm doing my thing, and I want to empower other black entrepreneurs. I'm creating a massive brand where we're gonna have live events. It's gonna have like a Netflix, but mainly for entrepreneurship, but for black entrepreneurs, books, the whole 9. So that's what you can expect from me.
What's it gonna be called?
What?
You didn't say what it was called.
I said Black Boss.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Did I say that?
Yeah. Oh.
Dang, she tuned me out, guys. So when you're married, that's what happens, right? She said you didn't say this, and you're like, yeah, the fuck I
Well, I was
did.
listening to all the other stuff.
That's massive.
Rude.
And how about you,
Oh my
sis?
goodness. Anyways, for me, so for my art side of things, I really want to grow as an artist, do more murals. So whether it's for businesses, for real estate properties, or just out on the street, like I want to paint more murals. Have my art store booming right now. I have an art store called Art by Devona, and you can see a lot of my prints and canvas prints on there. And then just doing more live painting too, because I've been finding that really fun. And then the other side to that is I'm creating a movement called Gangstar Creative, and my whole mission is really to annihilate the status quo of the starving artists and really help creatives thrive in both their business and their life. Too many creatives, I find, don't know how to sell themselves, market themselves, put themselves out there. They don't value themselves. And there's not a lot of creative leaders out there or information out there to really help creatives thrive. And so the next thing that I'm going to be launching in a couple months is the Gangstar Creative Podcast, where I'm bringing on successful creatives, sharing their, not just their stories, but really their tactics and how-tos of how they get their opportunities, how they're actually thriving in their life and business. So be on the lookout for that in a couple months too.
That's amazing. If you guys are going to the cruise with us this November, these 2 are our featured speakers for the mastermind on the cruise. So you guys will get to hang out with them in November. Take your phones out, you guys. Take your phones out. Open up your Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to go ahead and follow these guys. So if you want to go ahead and share your handle.
So my handle is Devona Stimpson. It's DEVONASTIMPSON.
It's a long-ass last name, ain't it?
But usually if you type Devona, it should pop up. It's like a purple picture.
And then mine is Kevin_Stimpson.
Not pretty boy Kev, right?
Not Pretty Boy Kev. It could be, though.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So make sure you guys go out and follow them. Maybe we'll post it at Success Circle, the Facebook page, so you guys can get it from there as well. Anyone last other questions? Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
Really
having us.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for having us.
You guys rock. Yes. Give it up for them, guys. Yes. Awesome. So go ahead and follow them. Ooh.
One last question.
Yes.
Can I get you guys on camera saying walk, lead, or no lead?
Saying what?
Walk, lead, or no lead?
Guap lead or no lead? Guap lead or no lead? Let's go.
Amazing. All right.